to all of you. I appreciate your taking the time to attend the presentation today. Hopefully you'll walk away with a lot of new information. Our topic today is TMF, eTMF, Regulatory Agency Expectations, Inspections, and Findings. As Joy said, my name is Donna Dorzinski. I have been in the industry for 27 years. I spent 15 years in Big Pharma, and I'm actually coming up on my 13 years with just-in-time GCP. I work with small and mid-sized pharma companies, CROs, and sites, and helping them maintain regulatory compliance. A major part of the work that I do, pretty much day in and day out anymore, is trial master files. I've been a member of the TMF Reference Model Working Group, and I've led zones and revisions to the reference model, and most recently, addition of sub-artifacts to the reference model. I serve on several reference model working groups as well. I love TMF. I think TMF is the cornerstone of inspection readiness, and it's important to me to share this information with other users, other individuals. Just our learning objectives. The first objective will be to talk about regulatory expectations regarding TMF and eTMF management, and these slides are hot off the press. I spent actually quite a bit of time updating. I do this seminar a lot throughout the year, but there's a lot of good stuff going on, and I've got a couple of recent experiences, so I tried to update these slides. So hopefully we've got some new information here that will help you. We want to talk about the plan for preparing for a regulatory inspection. That's such a huge part of this. We'll talk about two recent regulatory findings directed at eTMF management, and we'll talk about strategies for effective CAPAs, because effective CAPAs can be a tool for inspections, right? So if you have a good CAPA in place or a good remediation plan in place, then that helps you with your strategy. So when you think about a regulatory inspection and what they're trying to do, they want to see that you're making changes. If you've identified issues and you're making changes, they're going to go a lot easier on you than if you're like, yep, here it is, this is what we did, boom, done, we're good. So we definitely want to know if we can put CAPAs in place and remediations in place, because we know that we didn't always get everything right. That's seen in a very positive way. So TMF, this definition doesn't change. Any seminar that you do with me, you'll hear this. It's a standalone set of documentation. It tells a story. The perfect inspection requires no interviews. An inspection that requires no interviews is very valuable. The one at the inspection that I had on the West Coast, and it was in the fall, she came in on a Monday at 4 and said, Tuesday at 4, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9. I want to look in your eTMF. Now, she asked for it on a thumb drive, which is a little bit different. She didn't want to go into the system functionality. She wanted a thumb drive so she could just kind of look for what she wanted. She didn't talk to anybody. She was there for a whole week. She never talked to anybody except her host, and she left with no findings. So she never did any interviews. She found what she wanted. She read what she needed to read, and she moved on. So the perfect TMF tells the entire story, so you don't need anybody else to explain things. Now, most of us aren't that lucky right now where we have TMFs to tell the whole story, but in the perfect world, that's what happens. Your TMF is a collection of documentation that looks at the conduct of the trial, the integrity of the data, and the compliance with GCP. Those are the three things that your health authorities are looking at. How was the trial conducted? Did you follow the protocol? Did you follow your plans? Do you have data integrity? Do you have evidence that this is good data? Do I have good data? And were you compliant with GCP as you did it? The whole thing about good data, I'm going to say FDA recently did not give an approval because there were issues around the data. So the data that was relied on for that piece of the approval was a little bit ugly. And so agencies said, nope, got to do it again. I'll give you this piece because your data is strong here, but I'm not giving you this piece because I don't trust your data, right? And so your TMF, that TMF told the story of, hey, there were some issues here that didn't get resolved. So it's an output. The piece here, and what excited me about Michelle and Jamie, is that they had all kinds of functional group representation. 3 years ago when I did this session, it was all clinical, right? Everybody just sends clinical or QA. QA comes sometimes. But what we want to see is we want to see everybody there, because your TMF is data management, biostats, regulatory affairs, your clinical supplies management, safety, clinical ops, absolutely, medical writing. All of these groups are involved in your TMF. not just clinical. This is not just a clinical responsibility. So you have to look at it as an entire R&D focus.